It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and I know this is a day late and a dollar short, but it's here, and consider this me preparing myself, because this is a big week of movies. We got 7 films to look at on this weekend before Halloween, October 24, 2003 to be exact, so we have a lot to get to here. I've already wasted too much of your time already. Let's get to the reviews, and let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is the introduction to the Zucker brothers into the Scary Movie franchise with Scary Movie 3, or Scary Movie 3.
There is a videotape. If you watch it, 7 days later.
Oh, man.
Will be 1 week from today.
You heard about this videotape? The one where they do it on the boat, and then in the car, and then in the bathtub? And he's like, hey, baby, I love you. And she, no, not that tape.
And as soon as it's over, your phone rings. And a creepy voice says,
You're gonna die in...
A.
What? Really nice?
And gay.
Who's gay?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
3 times the terror.
A mysterious crop circle appeared in local farmer Tom Logan's cornfield.
Oh, come on. You know those things are just a hoax.
Call it women's intuition or ESPN or both. But I can tell when danger's near. I just...
3 times the suspense.
The room is secure, Mr. President.
Or is it?
Sir?
What if the aliens could take over human bodies?
It could be any one of these people.
Move slowly toward the exit. It's happening! I knew it! You'll never take me alive! She's scrambling my brain!
I got a dream. What is your dream? To have a dream. I'm a white boy, but my neck is red. I put Miracle Whip on my Wonder Bread.
No! What do we think?
I don't know what I'm doing here. This is totally pathetic.
Scary Movie 3.
Where's my daughter?
Are you mad? I am your daughter.
I didn't touch her, I swear.
I don't believe you.
Please, for God's sake. She's a girl.
Reloaded for a 3rd shot.
Who are you?
I am Orpheus.
Lynette!
I believe this evening we will find...
What are you still doing here?
Please, LaQuisha. I'm prophesizing.
Well, I'm prophesizing my foot halfway up your...
Well, I'm prophesizing that Queen Latifah and Eddie Griffin do not look like that in this movie. In fact, they don't really have a Matrix scene in this movie with those two in particular. They're sort of with Eddie Griffin dressed up in the same costume that you see in that in the trailer, but the big Matrix parody comes when George Carlin appears as the architect, when Cindy has to go to the lighthouse, and she goes inside, and it's all of a sudden the architect from the Matrix Reloaded, which I guess it was a scene they added in later on because of the fact that I guess that character took off in particular. In fact, this whole movie had a lot of things going on behind the scenes, like Anthony Anderson's character turned out to be so popular in test screenings that he had to be rewritten into the film with more scenes, and they were shooting it while the film was already in post-production. But Scary Movie 3, you have here a mysterious killer tape circling around the ring. Once look at this tape, and you have 7 days left to live, and news reporter Cindy Campbell, once again played by Anna Faris, witnesses the videotape and tries to work out a way to prevent her death. But this is not the only mystery to appear. Crop circles have been appearing in the local farm for Tom, played by Charlie Sheen, and George, played by Simon Rex. And with help from Aunt Shaniqua, played by Queen Latifah, by the way, that's science, by the way, Cindy suspects that the aliens may be linked with the killer tape and now must work out both mysteries before it's the end of the world. Oh, and Simon Rex is also trying to have a rap career, which basically is 8 Mile. But, yeah, those are 3 of the main parodies in here. They also parody stuff like The Others, like I said, The Matrix Reloaded. But this is the first one without the Wayans brothers involved. And quite honestly, controversial opinion, these are probably my favorite ones in the series. Maybe it's because I'm such a David Zucker fan. I love the Airplane movies. I love the Naked Gun movies so much. Yeah, it's not that same caliber of comedy, but it's still much funnier than a majority of the spoof movies that are about to come out after this point. I mean, this is a film that is so... There's just so many things about it that I love about it so much. I think it's very funny stuff. It's got that Zucker Brothers style of comedy that's still very stupid but very smart at the same time. Like, I never pinpointed it until many, many times after I'd seen this movie that, Cameron Manheim plays the cop, and he was talking to Charlie Sheen all the time, and he was there when his wife got murdered, and she's wearing this hat. I never put it together until just the last couple times I've watched it, that in the first scene you see her with, that hat she's wearing gets bigger every time that they change it, that they go to another scene with her. Like, could not believe I did not see that. The first time around, and you think it's going to be something that's going to run throughout the entire movie, but it's only something that happens one time in the beginning. But Charlie Sheen's very good in the movie too. In fact, this was a big comeback year for him because he had this, and then he had 2.5 Men going on at the same time. And Charlie Sheen is just perfect for these type of movies because he did it so well with Hot Shots, and just everything about this movie is just so. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever at times, but it's still really freaking funny. This is the kind of humor I like. Leslie Nielsen as the president. I mean, like, anytime Leslie Nielsen's on screen in this movie, he steals the show. Like, he's the only guy in this movie that could get away with doing some pretty stuff that would be kind of controversial today, like rapping, quoting Tupac lyrics, or doing the hey, how are you type of thing. But Leslie Nielsen makes it work because he is so committed to the craft here, and he just plays it so straight. I mean, what other actor around Leslie Nielsen's age can go around saying, "These men died for their country, send flowers to their bitches and hoes," and play it so seriously? That's the power of what Leslie Nielsen brings to the table here. All of his scenes are hilarious. I mean, when he's punching the special ed kids, that's just. I mean, this is a funny film. I mean, I really mean it when I say that I do love the Zucker Brothers scary movies over the Wayans Brothers movies. I mean, these movies get so ridiculously stupid whenever the Zucker Brothers take over, and it's just really funny stuff. I mean, this is the style of comedy that I'm so used to, and it just works. It just works on so many levels. I mean, I get more laughs out of these movies. These are PG-13 sequels too, and those are rare. For an R-rated movie that has PG-13 sequels, that's usually a death sentence right there. But not with the scary movie films. They actually got better with it. Is when you put them in there. Like, I mean, what more can I say, man? These are just really funny movies whenever the Zucker Brothers are involved in. Again, my personal opinion, these are definitely the better movies. This probably is my favorite one of the series, considering that Scary Movie 4 is kind of a lesser film, and in terms of the story, it doesn't really connect as well as it does here. They do actually a pretty good job of connecting the story in this particular movie compared to what they do in the next movie, but at the same time, it's still a really fun film. I really love this movie a lot. Scary Movie 3, what more can I say? Next up is a comedy. Surely it wasn't intentional, but it's hilarious to think about this. Here's Cuba Gooding Jr. in the biggest mistake of his year in 2003. You thought Boat Trip was the worst thing he did? Boat Trip actually has some value to it. Radio does not.
We do things as a team, gentlemen. Full speed!
In a town driven by competition.
Coach, you reckon these are the boys gonna take us back to state?
If I was to tell you that, y'all wouldn't have anything to talk about.
The last thing anyone wanted
Getting home late.
Can't you just make room for your daughter and football?
was a distraction.
Hey, Einstein, throw it over here. Come on, throw it. Hey, coach, you took our ball.
That boy has been rolling by here for a long time now.
No, I don't want the football. Why don't you bring about practice today? I'll find you something to do. See the young man over there? He goes by radio. He's going to be helping us out for a while. What exactly is wrong with him?
He the same as everybody else, just a little slower than most.
It's radio. Put that up at all.
Just grab something.
Come on, Dimmer.
Those look fine, radio.
Okay.
You got yourself a distraction needs dealing with.
Radio.
Why, the show you put on out there tonight, Coach? Just wondering if you run a football program or a social club. We're not going to be able to take you on a bus today. some folks that just don't understand yet, but they're gonna catch on, believe me.
Why on earth are you doing this?
I figure it's the right thing to do. Gary Powers is released from the Soviet Union. True or false? What'd you say, radio? I know we haven't had much chance to talk.
Radio needs what you're doing more than I did.
Play with heart and never stop believing in each other.
It's just bad if we do things the way we used to.
You take him out of this school, you might as well just take his life from him.
I'm not so sure we're trying to help somebody here. Never a mistake to care for someone.
But the truth is, we're not the ones been teaching radio. Radio's the one been teaching us.
I'm sorry, but if you're not laughing at that point when he's lifting his arms up in the air in the shopping cart doing the Shawshank Redemption moment, then you clearly do not see the hilarity of this, of why this movie is so terrible. This is the definition of a never go full retard film, because you have a movie like this, and that whole trailer is just hilariously bad on so many levels. Like, like they give Cuba Gooding Jr. the buck teeth and all that. Like they make fun of the fact that he's he's mentally challenged, so he has retard strength, like that type of stuff. And then you got to have those moments that are supposed to be like the heartfelt moments of the film, and it just comes off as really fucking stupid, because this is a really bad movie. The article and the movie, this is based off of an article on Sports Illustrated called Something to Lean On, based on the true story of T.L. Hanna High School football coach Harold Jones, a young man with an intellectual disability. Gee, haven't heard that one before. I'm sorry, Harold Jones is the football coach, played by Ed Harris, and the young man with the intellectual disability is James Robert Radio Kennedy, played by Cuba Gooding Jr. And, so not only is it a movie where you never go full retard, but it's a film that is literally the Dead Poet Society thing again. It's Dangerous Minds. Like, he's not only mentally challenged, but he needs help in his educational abilities, so we're going to help him out. And the movie just comes off as a really big, disastrous mess of a film. And like, it would make even the real radio look at this and go, what the hell was I thinking saying yes to this? But it's just wasting too many good, talented people in here. I mean, Deborah Winger's in this movie. Eva Merkerson from Law & Order's in here. Alfre Woodard is in this movie. Talented people being wasted on a film that is so... We want an Oscar so badly. I mean, it's like, this is the definition of an Oscar bait movie at its absolute worst, because it's a movie that is literally... Here's why I think this is worse than Boat Trip, because Boat Trip is a bad film. But Boat Trip has those little brief flashes of promise and funny moments where you can look at it and go, you know what, this is not a good movie, but there's at least something of value there to it. But this is the bottom of the barrel. This is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s Geely. I mean, and Geely had moments where it had some brief flashes of promise, even though that movie was complete garbage as well. But this did to Cuba Gooding Jr. what Geely did to Ben Affleck. It made him on the blacklist for a number of different years. Like, people did not want to hire him for anything. It took Cuba Gooding Jr. 10 years to get a legitimately big role again in Lee Daniels' The Butler. That's how long it took between this movie and that movie to get the attention that he had before this. Like, this is... What more can I say, man? This is complete garbage. This is a film that is just bad on so many levels. Like, this is a film that tries to play with your emotions so hard. It's a bad teacher movie. It's a bad movie about somebody who has a mental disability, retardation. Like, it's everything bad about movies like this. This is why Robert Downey Jr. did the thing he had to do in Tropic Thunder with that speech of never going full retard. He had to say it, but Ben Stiller was the one that wrote it. So yeah, this is the reason why Tropic Thunder, I believe, exists. Just so they can make that scene in Tropic Thunder, because this is what that scene was talking about. Movies like this they make you mad at somebody that these caliber talented people are wasting their time on this garbage. This is garbage, plain and simple. So yeah, that is Radio, and not good. Not good indeed. But maybe we could turn the tide with our next movie, and that's Angelina Jolie in Beyond Borders.
He's our team leader and full-time doctor.
From the moment they met,
People's lives depend on us.
his cause became her mission.
What are you going to do when the food runs out?
25,000. Now,
Nick has disappeared.
survival has become her obsession.
I'm not leaving until I find him.
October 24th,
You say you're a CIA agent?
she will risk everything
I want to know where Nick is.
for one man.
If anything happens to her,
Beyond Borders, rated R, Monday, October 24th, in theaters everywhere.
And once again, I got my actors wrong. It's not Gerard Butler, like I said last time. That's Clive Owen. But Beyond Borders is the epic tale of the turbulent romance between two star-crossed lovers set against the backdrop of the world's most dangerous hotspots. Angelina Jolie stars as Sarah Jordan, an American living in London in 1984. She's married to Henry Balfour, son of a wealthy British industrialist. When she encounters Nick Callahan, a renegade doctor, his impassioned plea for help to support his relief efforts in war-torn Africa moves her deeply. As a result, Sarah embarks upon a journey of discovery that leads to danger, heartbreak, and romance in the far corners of the world. This is directed by Martin Campbell, who has been a good action director as of late. He's made GoldenEye, Mask of Zorro, and Vertical Limit up to that point. He would later follow this up with Casino Royale, which is a great movie. This is one of those ones where the ambitions were definitely there. The execution just didn't work out in the long run. I mean, it's a movie that has a lot of things about it that should work in general, but at least you could say this about Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. They were at least trying to do something in that one, trying to do something in that movie. Angelina Jolie here is just kind of doing nothing in here. It's just kind of a lifeless film in general, and yeah. They're trying to use the human suffering of war-torn Africa back then as the backdrop for it, and for romance. Like this is trying to be like this decade's Out of Africa, and they try to do Out of Africa again in the 90s with Havana, which didn't work out that well, but at least had some ambition to it. This really does not. It's a film that does not really have a motivation of where it wants to go, and it just really kind of falls apart at the worst possible time. I mean, this is a film that has so much good talent involved, but there's just not enough there to really cement this as a film that kind of needs to be seen. It's just kind of like, okay, so you got Angelina Jolie and Clive Owen. Are you going to do anything important with them? No? I mean, maybe if they had a better writer to it, maybe it could have worked, but not in this case. So that is Beyond Borders. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is actually a limited release because this will be released wide the next weekend. And I'll talk about that in a second because that's an interesting story there. Disney's Brother Bear.
The world is full of magic. Winter turns to spring. Small things become big. One thing always changes into another. Walt Disney Pictures presents an all-new motion picture event.
Are we there yet?
Don't make me turn this formation around.
You have no idea what they are.
You just talked.
Just back away, real slow like.
What's going on? What? How's it going, Bear? I'm not a bear. Well, gee, you're one big beaver. Who kidding me? I'm a man. I was transformed into a bear. Magically. But crazy. Do either of you know where the lights touch the earth? Yeah, no.
Hey, I know that place.
You do?
Yeah, follow me. My name's Coda. Stay with me. Coda. I don't want to brag or nothing, but I'm a raging ball of brown fur.
Oh, really? This November.
Keep all that cuddly bear stuff to a minimum. Okay, kid?
The truth is, I got separated from my mom.
See through another's eyes.
Those monsters are really scary, especially with those sticks.
Feel through another's heart.
Coda, don't be afraid.
And discover the meaning of brotherhood.
I always wanted a brother.
Coda!
Here, look out!
Walt Disney Pictures presents Brother Bear.
Beauty, eh? Beauty. If you're only going to see one movie this year...
Wait, If they're only seeing one movie a year, it's pretty much too late for this group, because there's one starting in 2 minutes, eh?
Oh, no, it's not too late. Hey, you people who only go see one movie a year, get out now. Go, eh? I see some of them leaving anyway.
Oh, good.
Maybe it's just going to the bathroom.
Or maybe they're going to find that Nemo kid. That was actually an alternative line. If you saw trailers after Finding Nemo in the theaters, they would go like, okay, I see people walking away now. Maybe they're going to find that Nemo kid, because that was apparently that 2003 had a lot of movies that had to throw in the fact that Finding Nemo came out in 2003, because a couple weeks from now we'll have Looney Tunes Back in Action that literally has a line where Bugs says, "Hey, I found Nemo," like that type of stuff. But this is Brother Bear, and it's interesting what happened with this particular film, because Disney decided to open this on November 1st, 2003, which was a Saturday, instead of releasing it on Halloween on October 31st. I guess the thinking is that, Halloween is that day, people are going to be out trick-or-treating, nobody's going to want to go to the movies, so we'll release it on Saturday and hope for the best. And didn't do too bad, considering it only had 2 days is on its opening weekend. Almost $20 million isn't nothing to scream about. Is nothing to be too upset about, at least until you look at the budget for this, which... Actually, the budget wasn't too bad. $46 million. I thought this was one of those... I could have sworn I thought this was one of those ones where the budget was actually much bigger, and it actually turned out to not be a profitable film. But, truth be told, it did pretty well, all things considered. But, that's the box office side of things. Let's talk about the movie itself. You have a story here where you have Joaquin Phoenix as an Inuit boy named Kenai, whose pursuit of a bear in revenge for a battle that he provoked in which his older brother was killed. And he tracks it down, kills it, but the spirits, angered by this needless death, change Kenai into a bear himself as punishment. In order to be human again, Kenai must travel to a mountain where the northern lights touch the earth and learn to see through another's eyes, feel through another's heart, and discover the meaning of brotherhood. Disney was apparently so wanting this to work, because they not only did the story once, they did it twice with Brave, and I guess it worked the second time because Brave won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature, which I personally think that Wreck-It Ralph should have won it that year. But hey, at least it worked that time. But in this is one of those ones where it's another one of those style over substance movies where several aspects are really great, but the film really lacks in other aspects. I mean, it's the story here. I mean, it's way too predictable. It's pretty much a buddy comedy, and you can pinpoint every single aspect of the story from a mile away. There's no surprise over the course of the film whatsoever. But not only that, the way the songs are put in here are poorly done. I mean, this is Phil Collins once again working on the music here, and I mean, this is his follow-up to Tarzan. And the songs are good. I mean, there is legitimately one good song in this movie that is criminally underrated. Take a Look Through My Eyes, which... that's probably my favorite song in the entire movie. But the songs aren't bad. They're poorly placed in really bad areas. They place these songs over moments where the situation itself should be at the center of the attention. There's a crucial scene where the revelation of the story takes place. And, like, Kenai's telling the story to Coda, the little bear he meets with, played by Jeremy Suarez from the Bernie Mac show. And it should be this moment where the tide turns and you feel the character for coming out and telling the truth about a situation, but it doesn't have the emotional impact when you have Phil Collins' music playing over the background that just does not fit whatsoever. It is really... I could not believe that they thought that was a good idea, because it just takes away what should be the powerhouse moment of the entire movie and just ruins it by just adding a layer there that did not need to be there. It's just bad the way they put that in there. I mean, the voice work overall is good. I don't think the voice chemistry between Phoenix and Suarez works that great, but you have a lot of good things about it there. There are good things about it. The animation is really good. This is actually the last traditional cell animated movie Disney did, and then this was actually the third and final film done at Disney MGM Studios before they shut that down. And, there is so much going for it, but it just can't find a good enough story that's different or unique to make it work overall. It really isn't a bad movie, but it certainly isn't a masterpiece either. It's just kind of run-of-the-mill, but for Disney, hey, it made them money back, so I guess it worked out in the end. But then again, their next movie, not so much. So, and that's not even that far away. We're about, 6 months away from getting to the next Disney animated classic, if you will, that was not so successful. And we'll get to that one because that one has a lot of implications for what was to come next for Disney. But as far as Brother Bear goes, not great. I mean, has some elements to... It's not a terrible film, but certainly not a masterpiece either. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Meg Ryan in The Cut.
Yeah, police detective investigating a girl's murder.
Crime too close to home. The body's found outside her window. The cop too close for comfort.
I can do whatever you want me to do.
Mr. Fall's most anticipated film.
One of the girls been murdered.
Is a first-class thriller.
He's a liar.
From Academy Award winner Jim Campion, Meg Ryan is a revelation. Unabashedly sexy. The performance is absolutely flawless. In The Cut, rated R, starts October 22nd in New York and LA. Opens October 20th.
Yeah, the only reason this movie has any reason to be called the most anticipated movie of the fall was because Meg Ryan gets naked in it. That's literally what the big controversy was at the time. Oh, Meg Ryan's going to get naked in this. And that was literally the only reason why anybody was even really giving a crap about this movie. Because it's not that great of a film. This is directed by Jane Campion, who has done much better movies than this. And you have Meg Ryan starring as an English teacher who becomes personally entangled with a detective played by Mark Ruffalo. So Sally Bang the Hulk in this, I guess. Investigating a series of gruesome murders in her Manhattan neighborhood. And this is a film that just... I mean, like I said, it's a film that only existed because of the fact that Meg Ryan had never done a nude scene before, and this was like the big thing that she was taking on an erotic thriller to do that type of stuff. And it's just like it really, like, you can't just sell a movie on that aspect alone. You have to have an engaging storyline to work with. I mean, Basic Instinct is the definition of an erotic thriller that works, because you not only get the TNA, but you also get an intriguing mystery, you get an intriguing storyline, you get characters that you want to get behind. You don't want to get behind any of these characters whatsoever and what they're trying to accomplish here. It's pretty easy to figure out what the climax is going to be like. And if you want to see those new scenes, you can just go online and find them. I mean, they're so easy to find. Just type in The Cut nude scenes. Boom, there you go. Like, you have no reason to watch this movie in particular, especially when you have to sit there for 2 hours of just nothingness. Like, this is a film that is just... It's boring. It's a boring movie that has nothing of value to it whatsoever. It's one of those movies where it was bad when it came out. I still think it's bad now, but apparently a lot of people think it's not. No, it's had this reappraisal over the years, and like, I just don't see it. I just really did not see it. I just saw it as the movie where everyone was making a big deal about Meg Ryan's boobs being out. That's it. I mean, that's literally everything about this movie that I knew about it. And when I finally got to watch it, that's all I pretty much saw. And it's just like, wow, I could have just gone online and watched this without even wasting my time on this movie. I mean, it's not a good movie. It's just not a good film at all. It's just a really lackluster story. The mystery isn't all that interesting. The erotic scenes are not that interesting whatsoever. Wasting a great cast. It includes Jennifer Jason Leigh and Kevin Bacon among it too. And you just expect more from Jane Campion. This just felt like a movie where they tried to sell it on one particular thing, and it just really didn't work in the long run. So that is In the Cut. Let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, Gus Van Sant's Elephant. Well, you could say that Gus Van Sant's back in form here. I mean, maybe not the best form in general, but this is a story that takes place in Watts High School in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, and chronicles the events surrounding a school shooting. Heavily inspired by the Columbine High School massacre of 1999, the film begins a short time before the shooting occurs, following the lives of several characters both in and out of school who are unaware of what is about to unfold. And you have a lot of different new actors in here: John Robinson, Alex Frost, and this is actually the second film of Gus Van Sant's Death trilogy, the first one being Gary, and the last one being Last Days, which all were based on actual events. Now, surprisingly, the film was controversial for its subject matter, and allegations of influence on the Red Lake shootings of, when was those? About a couple years after this movie came out in March of 2005. As far as this film goes, I haven't seen it in full, but the stuff I've seen, it's fine. Like, it's definitely not Gus Van Sant's best work in general, but compared to what he did with Psycho a couple years ago, he's back in full form here. Even if the movie's not that great, I would still rather watch something like this over something like Psycho again. And it's not that it's a bad movie in general. There's a lot of things about it that are good, but it just really doesn't have a purpose to it. It's just like, hey, let's make a movie inspired by these events, and it'll just write itself. And it just really doesn't feel like it goes that way. It just kind of feels like, it just doesn't really... There's not really enough there from the little bits I've seen from it to make me say, I want to watch this in full. This just feels like a film that it feels like a film that kind of like Schindler's List or 12 Years a Slave, where I'll really like it, but it's one of those movies that I'll probably never watch again because it's so depressing to watch them. But they're great movies anyway, but I feel like this movie could be that. I've never really had the urge to watch this in full. I mean, it could be good, but I don't know. From the little bits I've seen from it, it looks promising, but not much more I can add to that one here. I mean, it looks promising enough, but I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it in full. So that is Elephant. Let's go ahead and move on to our last movie here, and that is the Mel Gibson-produced, Robert Downey Jr. star, The Singing Detective. Another great, underrated Robert Downey Jr. movie. When hospitalized with an extreme case of psoriasis, novelist Dan Dark, played by Downey Jr., reworks his first book in his head. Feverish, paranoid, and prone to musical outbreaks, he confuses himself with his protagonist, a detective investigating the murder of a prostitute in 1950s Los Angeles. This is the film that features a star-studded cast, including David Dorfman from The Ring, Robin Wright Penn, Jeremy Northam, Katie Holmes, Mel Gibson, Adrian Brody, John Polito, Carla Gugino, Saul Rubinek, Alfre Woodard, Eddie Jones. Just terrific, terrific cast. This is actually based off of a BBC serial of the same name. In fact, the person that wrote this movie. It's essentially an American adaptation of this, and like I said, man, it's a criminally underrated Robert Downey Jr. movie. It's a film where he just shows that, he was in a bad place in his life around this time. He had the drug abuse problems and all that. But this was... Kiss Kiss Bang Bang may have been the film that officially started the return for him, but this was kind of a precursor to him coming back in glory because, here's a film where he really gets to show what makes him so great as an actor. And he can be very funny, he can be very serious. The film is just a ton of fun to watch from the visual perspective, from watching the cast work together here. Mel Gibson is really good in this movie. He's given this performance that seems so unlike Mel Gibson, and that's really one of the best things about the movie is that you have people here acting unusually different for the most part, and I think it works on so many levels. It was a movie that I think was underappreciated in its time, but man, it just works on the long run. It's a great film. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a criminally underrated Robert Downey Jr. film, which he's made a ton of them. But this is definitely high up on the ones that you should definitely check out. I highly recommend The Singing Detective. So we finally made it through all 7 movies. That's going to wrap this week's episode of Time About the Movies up. We'll head to Halloween weekend next time around with 3 movies, including Anthony Hopkins and Nicole Kidman in The Human Strain, the 2003 re-release of the Alien Director's Cut, and also Shattered Glass. We'll take a look at those 3 movies on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button right there if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, as always, take care.